We are live. Just double checking on YouTube. Okay, we are live.
Great.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the September Stitch and Bitch live show. We will be going a little bit shorter today. We need to get Reija off to bed a little bit earlier than normal. We are also still kind of abbreviating our media discussion. We are still supporting the SAG-AFTRA strike for personal and professional reasons, so we will not be discussing struck works because of that. I do think you said video games are still okay?
Yeah, video games
for now.
For now.
They're voting on whether to extend the strike to video games, and I think also anime and related, like I think Korean dramas also and Chinese dramas.
Okay.
I think are also not struck works
But
because they are not like.
For now, we're still okay with discussing some animated stuff.
Yeah. However, no discussion about any anime adaptations done by Netflix. If you were expecting that is not happening.
Okay, so that for those reasons, we will be going a little bit shorter today. But thank you all for being here. We'll go around and do our introductions really quickly. I'll go first because we're on my channel. My name is Rachel. My channel is Kalinati. I am semi-retired from BookTube right now, but I do the live shows with my friends because it's fun. I primarily read science fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction. And I talk about it here because I'm not making regular videos, and that's pretty much it for me. Oh, except I'm still on Twitter, trying to phase out Twitter. I'm Kalinati over there, and I am on Blue Sky now. For anybody who is slowly migrating over there, I am dipping my toes in, so you can find me over there as well.
So that I can
yes, Kelsey,
myself and then run off and go back. Okay, I'm Kelsey. My YouTube channel is The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm also at The Fancy Hat Lady Reads on TikTok. I talk SFF books almost exclusively. I am on Mastodon. My Twitter is only for video updates at this point. On Mastodon, I think fancy.hat at wandering.shop. Is that right? No dot, just at fancy hat at wandering.shop. I never remember that. Okay, I'm going to run off and run back.
All right. Reija?
Yes. Hey, I'm back. Since last time. Anyway, I'm Reija. I'm also. I wouldn't say I'm yet. I haven't committed yet to retirement, but I am on a long-standing hiatus due to personal reasons. But these live streams are less stressful for me and a lot of fun to make. So or participating. So you can find me on the Stitch and Bitches normal. And then if and when I return, I will be at the Bookfinch talking about science fiction and fantasy books and manga and all of that jazz. Possibly some travel vlogs will be happening in the in the future.
Yes.
As trips are happening, and that's pretty much it. You can also find me on Instagram at Finchkin, where I post about traveling and cats, mostly cat post and travel posts.
All the important things are.
Yes.
Di.
Hi, my name's Diana. My channel's Bookish Di. I read a lot of science fiction and fantasy as well as nonfiction, although I tend to jump around with whatever library book is due soonest.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I was not planning on reading the romance I'm currently reading, and I was looking at my living. I'm like, oh, this is due in a week.
Relatable.
I know. So I'm also still on Twitter, and I'm also on Blue Sky, both Bookish Di, if you want to catch me there.
Awesome.
And this black hole is Luke, in case anyone doesn't know.
Did Leia run away?
No, Leia is sleeping on the book throne, which is why I'm on the couch today.
I'm hoping maybe at some point Hermes will make an appearance, but he's been very social this weekend, so he might just be curmudgeoning in the bedroom.
I meant to ask if he like immediately started running away and hiding when I left, because I was.
No, he's been very social. Like every single time I've had guests over, he's been like, "Hello."
Awesome.
It's you had a good influence on him, clearly.
Yay!
Like there's nice. Like there is kind of like a pre-Rachel visit Hermes, and then there's a post-Rachel visit Hermes.
Oh,
I don't think it was actually me.
he's had character development.
He is now less afraid of human interaction.
Maybe he just decided it wasn't so bad having somebody else in his personal space.
Yeah, I mean, he still like he still doesn't like come out for like new people, but if it's a person that has been established, then he's like, okay, I can come and check them out. But he doesn't like, you know, come. He doesn't. He isn't as clingy as he was with you. He doesn't come sit with them.
Mm-hmm. See, he should be comfortable with me now because he has attacked my feet. He's stolen my watch to play with it.
I think the spindle was what won him over.
Oh, yeah.
The spindle he was really obsessed with.
Yes, I just saw his eyes getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So Luke is also kind of like that, but a weird. So I have friends who will come over and feed the cats if I'm out, and Luke will like come up and sniff them, but he still is like very hesitant to accept scritches. But like the funny thing is I've noticed that if I have family over, he's all about that. Like my sister came, my dad came, my mom's came, and he was like social and like coming up for pets and like chilling in the room with them instead of hiding. And then like my dad's girlfriend came with him when he came to visit a few years ago, and he was just like, I don't know you and I don't trust you, and I'm just gonna stand in the hallway and stare at you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking shit about you. I'm sorry.
Oh. I thought I was gonna walk off in a huff.
I love you, but
how rude.
I know, I'm talking shit about you.
Hello to everybody in the chat. Hi, Elise. Hi, Joe. I'm glad we're your favorite people, or some of your favorite people. You still haven't missed a live show.
Joe will be watching these like come rain or sunshine.
Yep. And I see Ron. And I see Ramsey. Hello. All right. Want to talk about what we're working on? What everybody's crafts are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Reija, you can go first.
Well, funny you should ask, because I have started on my sweater.
Yay!
From the knitted Kalevala. I can show you what it's gonna look like. So I bought this book. I was under the influence of Rachel when we went to Snurre.
You were the one who saw it first and was like,
that is true. Yes. And there's this specific sweater.
Oh, that's pretty.
That I'm making, and it's gonna be, the main color is gonna be black in mine, and then it's gonna be like this bottle green.
Ooh.
And I'm hoping I will have finished making it by the time I need to leave for my trip, because it's gonna be cold on the mountain ranges. So I have a few months to finish it, even if I'm a slow knitter.
We were going to ask for updates in every live show now, so...
Yes.
I was going to work on mine today, but I kind of forgot how I was doing some of the color work things, so I need to sit down and figure that out again.
Yeah.
I haven't touched it in like a month.
I have like this perfect thing because I've just started like yesterday, and I still have like a few, like I'm 3 centimeters or so into the ribbing, and I still have 5 centimeters just on the ribbing to go, and then there's like a whole bunch of stockinette to go. So this is a long-standing project before I even get to the color work.
Yeah, because it's bottom up, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought yours was top down.
Yeah, it's bottom up, and I also need to start the sleeves.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna knit those next weekend when I go visit my family. So I have some train time, so I will probably be able to like finish both of the sleeves in like as long as as to the point where I can finish them during the train ride over.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm making for the foreseeable future.
Dai.
I'm still working on the shawl, but I'm in the final part of it. So I just have 7 more rows of this garter stitch. And then there's the border, but that is going to be involving yarn chicken because I don't have that much of the gray yarn left. So I might do like a very abbreviated border.
Is it a mosaic border or just solid color?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mosaic. So it's like 6 rows. There's a moss stitch, which sucks. I hate moss stitch. Yeah, so we will see how it goes.
I think I would be tempted to just leave it with a garter stitch border.
That's kind of where I'm at. And then maybe bind off with the gray.
No temptation. Just you can do it. You can finish it. Live the exhilarating thrill of the chicken.
What I'll probably do is I'll put in a lifeline. So that way, if I lose yarn chicken, I can just go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to finally being done with, because I've been working on this for almost a year at this point and starting something new.
Yep.
Yeah, don't be like me and start projects and never finish them. I have like
I had like this. I technically finished mostly 2021. Have I woven in the ends and blocked it? Absolutely not.
Andre, comment.
Yeah, we'll see if I like. Honestly, part of the reason I did travel up the sides with the gray yarn is instead of cutting it like the pattern says, is I hate weaving in so much, and if there's a way for me to avoid it, I will.
Yep.
Yeah, this is lately why I have just like decided that whatever happens, I'm just gonna weave in ends as I go on with the patterns, because like if I don't, it takes like longer time as you're working through it, and it's annoying, but at the same time, if I don't weave in the ends, I will never finish any of my projects. It will just be in the procrastination basket until the end of time.
Mm-hmm. I started to do some more like joining methods or catching the yarn to weave it in as I'm knitting, because I'm changing yarns, like colors and stuff, so frequently in projects now. I'm not going to go back and weave in all the ends for a striped pullover. So I've been doing the join where you kind of like make a loop with one and then loop through the other. I don't know what that's called. Anyway, you end up knitting with like 2 strands for a little bit, but it's quite nice. Kelsey?
I am not actually doing a craft this live stream. I didn't think ahead, but I am. I did show it off earlier, wearing the fruits of previous live streams, which was the hand sewing of this trim.
It's done.
This skirt.
Looks nice.
Yes.
Yay. So,
I hope you get a lot of wear out of that skirt.
Yes, I don't know if, I suppose I can sit on the back of the couch and
I love the overall look. I mean, the blouse that you're wearing.
I really wanted. I was really excited that with this trim, there's terrible light here, so you can't really see how good this color is with it. this trim was going to be great with this top that I got this summer. I do still kind of want to do either some sort of waistband or probably more likely belt loops out of the trim on this, because I have a like perfect little peach colored belt that I would love to wear with this skirt. So
do it.
So the project is maybe not completely done. I suppose I could work on it now during the stream, but then I'd have to change back into my sweatpants. And I feel like Victory wearing the skirt today.
I mean, you can also just take care of the bitching portion.
This is true. Also, your craft today is like fashion model, so
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. My craft today is the same thing I was doing last month. I am still in deep with supported spindling, so I am spinning. This one's almost full. And I got my 4th spindle in the mail last week. It's so pretty. This is a Tibetan style spindle. It's got a really, I feel like it has a huge whirl on it, but it's actually not that big. It also has, you see, there's a little ring.
Wow.
It's a ring. I had to ask my dad like what the heck the point of these rings are, but apparently when somebody is like turning wood on a lathe, you can carve out underneath, and so you have what's called a captive ring. So it's part of the carving. So it doesn't do anything, it's just pretty. But so yeah, I am obsessed with spindle spinning. And if I get tired of that, my other thing I have with me today is a shawl. I don't think I've ever shown this. Was I working on this before?
I don't know.
I think I've seen that before.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's been a while.
I started this in between live shows. And I can't remember. Anyway, this is the Pressed Flowers shawl by Amy Christophers. And I'm knitting it out of 100% hand spun yarn, which has been really cool. So I'm about halfway on it, and it's so big, and I don't have cables long enough with these wooden needles, so I might have to order a bigger cable. So, but to be honest, I will probably sit here spinning my Rolex all day. I literally was up until 2 a.m. working on this because I have zero chill. So, and it makes me happy. All right. We want to talk about what we are reading then?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
I'm trying not to drop any of my stitches because I did that earlier and got a bit panicked.
I want to know, Reija, because you're here this time. Did you read the 3rd volume of Barbarities?
I have not yet. But it's on my to-do list. It's on the pile. But I'm also playing Library Chicken with my hold. So I currently have like I finished Vespertine.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love Vespertine.
Which was decently good. I enjoyed it. It took forever though. I don't know why, because I was enjoying it every time I was reading it, but for some reason it just took forever for me to finish it. I was reading it on my commute, so that must have been why. But now I'm reading Sisters of the Lost Nation by Nick Medina. This is basically horror story, and it deals with reservation where girls are going missing, and there's like it's related to like a lot of the indigenous women going missing, and how those cases are never really reported on and not solved. And this is kind of a take on that, and also like comments on like indigenous mythology. But I'm very early on. I'm like, I think 40 or 50 pages in right now. So I just started it.
That's a new release, right?
Yeah, this year. I think it was released like earlier in spring, like in April or something. Yeah. But yeah, Barbarities is on my list as well as like 3 volumes of Spy Family, because I'm like 3 or 4 volumes behind at this point. But like, hopefully, but like, I'm gonna be honest. Barbarities kind of peaked in the 2nd volume with the like huge extensive scene.
Yeah.
And I know that the 3rd volume is basically all about politicking, and there's not a lot of spice. So
That's
I
why
kind
I want
of
you to read it first. I'm not going to enter Library alone unless it's spicy.
I know, but it's like I think the politics might be good. It's also like worth it to have Tsuta Suzuki basically in every volume complain how she's not able to finish the series in the allotted volumes that she wants to finish it.
Focused on the smut rather than your really getting out of control political plot.
Yeah, political and also like world building suddenly is like, okay, now I'm invested in like what's happening in this world. But yeah, also I did go and reread that scene in volume 2, you know, for science, and it's still good and long.
I remember your face when you read it. You were like, that came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere, and it was long. It was like it was long, and that's that. I've been also reading webtoons, which have also been disappointingly not spicy. Like, Semantic Error is doing some things and it's cute, but it's like, we need to amp up the heat a little bit, you know?
Is Semantic Error like the office romance one?
No, Semantic Error is the enemies to lovers romance between a designer and a game developer, and they basically end up developing a game together, and that's how they kind of bond and start to kind of like each other. And now it's at the point in the 3rd season where they're actually like establishing a romantic relationship, and it's really cute because they're actually like talking about their feelings, and it's like, it has like really interesting portrayals of like specifically masculinity, and especially in like when it relates to like Korean culture, which is like pretty patriarchal, and like Confucianism like informs a lot of the gender norms. And it's really refreshing to actually read a story that is conscious of that. So it's conscious of not only the cultural like baggage when it relates to masculinity, but also the baggage of the genre of boys' love in general. And it's a really actually very good in terms of like, if you want a story where the characters talk about consent and talk about like exploration of like the physical and emotional side of their relationship, and it actually doesn't feel like shoved in. It's like a natural progression of how they communicate with each other. And the other main character is like autistic, so it's interesting.
Nice. I tried to read a couple chapters of Under the Oak Tree because you were
so here's the thing. I can't really, I don't know if I want to endorse Under the Oak Tree, because Under the Oak Tree is like for me, reading Under the Oak Tree is probably how a lot of Sarah J. Maas fans feel about reading their like favorite stuff. It's
I wonder,
it's not like the best. Is it the best quality? Probably not. But it's like comforting to just like, you know, have some spice.
I felt like there was going to be like no proper communication between the married couple, and I was like, yeah, no.
Nah. The like a lot of it is very internalized, and Rifton is a jerk a lot of the time. It's actually the, I will say, because I've read now the ebook, so the original novel. Like Amazon has the ebooks, the official translations and stuff. So I've been reading those, and those actually do a little bit better job of like the communication and especially like the internal aspects of Max's character. However, it's still a vehicle for the snoo. So don't go in expecting a lot of deep stuff. Or not that kind of deep stuff, if you know what I mean.
You're killing me.
But yeah, that's my reading, basically. I'm trying to finish this. And then hopefully Barbarities and some other stuff.
Ramsey said he's reading the Infinite.
Oh yeah, oh
What?
that thing is such a relic.
I need an explanation. Then we'll
Okay,
get back to that.
so back in the early 90s, Star Wars was starting to experiment with novels and comics as like ways to expand the story after Return of the Jedi. Like this is when you have the first Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn. And in a case where the left hand was not talking with the right, there was also some comics that were being developed around the same time period. And so what they ended up doing was setting the comics like a year or two after when the Thrawn trilogy took place. So that's like backstory. But the actual Dark Empire comics themselves is, what if Palpatine returned, but he's in the body of a hot younger clone? And Luke goes to stop him, but ends up like joining him because he thinks he can like do more. I don't know. It's like weird.
Is this
and then
the one where Leia is pregnant and goes to save him?
Leia's
I have read this. I have read this. I have read these as well, and they are
like I think the art is actually like really interesting and very distinct from like what we normally see in Star Wars comics. Like the art is really cool, but the story itself is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I remember the hot Palpatine. The
yes,
hot Palpatine, at one point he's, if I remember correctly, like correct me if I'm wrong because it's been some years, like a lot of years, but at one point he's basically naked under the black robe. And
but
just
you don't
like,
see anything, so it looks
you
like
don't see anything, but it's just like you know what's under there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Google some images to see what you're talking about. And Di, do you want to talk about what you're reading right now?
Yeah. So I read the new October Day book, Sleep No More, and I really liked it. I can't say anything about the plot because it is big spoilers. But I'm looking forward to the next book, which is coming out in October because it's Tybalt's point of view as to what happened in Sleep No More. So it should be interesting. And then I also finished the Protectorate series by Megan O'Keefe. So the last book is Catalyst Gate. And I overall like mostly enjoyed the series, but it did get a little bloated towards the end. And I think it easily could have been edited down like 50 to 100 pages without losing like the core parts of the plot. It definitely felt just bloated, and there was some plot points in the third book I think didn't necessarily need to be there because they didn't really add a whole lot. And then in terms of what I'm currently reading, so I'm about halfway through Arusha and the City of Gold by Roshni Chokshi. It's the fourth book in the Arusha book, and I continue to really like this series. I think it's done a really good job of being middle grade to lower YA. Like now that we're getting like some more complicated themes, like in books 3 and 4, one of the things that Aru is dealing with is what happens when you feel like you can no longer trust the adults in your life, and what that betrayal kind of feels like and how to process that. And then one of the things I also appreciate is Roshni Chokshi has transitioned from having, like the first few books, there's a lot of Harry Potter references, and she's transitioned to Aru being a huge Lord of the Rings nerd instead.
Ah.
Okay. So like I appreciate that, like seeing the author just kind of quietly transitioning away from relying on Harry Potter references. So that was really nice. And then I'm also about a third of the way through Marry Me by Midnight by Felicia Grossman. This is the book I was referencing as like, oh, it's due in a week. So it's a historical romance set in the 1830s, and it's it has two Jewish characters. So you have a rich heiress who is being pressured to find a husband by her late father's business partner. So she decides to throw throw 3 festivals to try and find a husband. And then the love interest, who is not the love interest yet, is the poor custodian of one of the synagogues. And he's like the Cinderella character.
Oh,
What's this called again?
Marry Me by Midnight.
so
I'm
that's
enjoying
a
it so far.
Cinderella
Like,
reference.
it did fumble the landing, but so far, like, it's a really enjoyable historical.
What time period is it inspired by? Like Regency?
So it's the 1830s in London.
Huh.
Yeah, so the heiress is a Sephardic Jew, and then the love interest is an Ashkenazi Jew, and they talk a little bit about the differences between those two communities, as well as like what Jewish life was like in England at that time.
No, my library doesn't have it.
No.
Gosh darn it.
But does your library have Barbarities Volume 3?
No.
Oh, Reija, I also read volumes 3 and 4 of Delicious in Dungeon, and nothing bad is totally going to happen from what Marcel did in volume 4. Nothing bad is going to happen.
No. The series definitely is not going to take any dark turns.
It's not like there's 9 more volumes in that series.
And like one of the things about Delicious in Dungeon that is like one of my favorite things is how like intricate the world building gets in the series. And it could go even more intricate but like Delicious in Dungeon like really does world building really well. And it's like because it's so heavily inspired by like all these like Dungeons and Dragon-esque like fantasy like stereotypes and tropes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so very like Ryokui puts her own spin on everything.
Yeah, I really like that. It's just I'm so glad I finally picked it up.
Yeah,
it's
so good.
About it so much,
and it's also like one of my favorite things is how well thought out the monsters are, like in terms of like their anatomy and like everything is like there's an explanation for everything. Like,
I also just really love how she presents the final meals and like says like sugar, carbs, fat, protein, and like
vitamins. I've only just started, but I like that the dwarf character who does all the cooking. I like how concerned he is for everybody's nutrition.
Yes, Sensei is one of my favorite characters. Oh, I can't. Okay. I can't wait for you to reach the volume where they find was it the fairy rings?
I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be in a few volumes, but there's this like there are fairy rings, and they do stuff, and it's so hilarious when that happens. It's gonna like each character gets to kind of experience something because of the fairy rings.
The fairy rings? You mean mushrooms?
Yes.
Aha. Okay.
They also have nutritional value.
After you get high as a kite?
Well, you will have to read on and see, but that is also one of the things where I thought that she made a really interesting take about what the fairy rings do.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I've been reading.
Kelsey?
I have just been doing all Hugo reading all the time, and I despair because I'm not going to read all the things I want to read by the time voting closes. I finished Where the Drowned Girls Go last night. I thought it was better than Across the Green Grass Fields, but not as good as In an Absent Dream.
See, that's gonna be my plan next weekend, because next weekend I don't have any plans so far. It's gonna be like cranking up the short stories and the novelettes if I can.
I've honestly reached the point where I've given up on Hugo reading.
I've given up. I've given up on novels. Novels are not gonna happen.
See, I still have only one of the novels left to read. I will read Legends and Lattes by the end of this month, I swear. But I am the thing that I will absolutely be mad at myself if I don't do Hugo reading wise is getting caught up on all the Rachel Hartman books in order to read In the Serpent's Wake. I did read Shadow Scale. It was good. That's a solid duology that could have been a trilogy and maybe might have been better if it was a trilogy. Because the second book had a lot in it. But I really want to reread Tess of the Road because I desperately need a 5-star read. I've only had 2 this entire year. So
I don't think have I even had. Maybe it's the Soul and Bone. Did I read it? Or Nettle and Bone? Did I read it even this year? No idea.
Anyways, I am desperate for a 5-star reread. So if I don't by the end of the month reread Tess of the Road and then read In the Serpent's Wake, I will be very frustrated with myself. And then I just started reading Akata Woman. No, Akata Woman is the 3rd book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only like 3 pages in, so I have no opinions yet. But the Lodestar is the one that has most of my attention right now because I'm reading Akata Woman. I will get to In the Serpent's Wake if no matter what, everything else can fall by the wayside. And then I will have to decide if I'm reading Bloodmarked or not because I read Legendborn and it had enough of an exciting ending that it was like, oh, I could actually read the next book, even though I didn't love it overall. So whether or not I read Bloodmarked will be a matter of time and how much time I have. I have a question because I need to know. Every time I shift how I'm sitting, I need to move my table. I have a rolling desk thing in front of the couch, which is what's going on here. So I very much intend to read Into the Riverlands, but I don't know if I have time to read When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain first. Can I
Into the Riverlands does not reference When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, like basically at all.
Okay.
There's like a one-off sentence that like talks about like Cleric Chi's previous journeys, but it could be any journey. It doesn't really like reference the previous books.
So I could read those 2 in the wrong order and it would be fine.
Yes. Yeah, you definitely could.
So
you probably wouldn't even notice.
Skip When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain and read Into the Riverlands.
Yeah. I think the only book that you need to have read in the series is The Empress of Salt and Fortune, and that is basically because of the context of the world itself, because of like the time frame and like because they talk about like the ruling dynasties and stuff. So
good. I'm so glad to hear that because like I would be very frustrated if I spent all of my Hugo reading time this year reading prior books in series to things and then
prior books that are not nominated.
Prior books that are not nominated and then not actually having time to read the nominated books. That's sort of been the story of my Hugo reading this year.
But yeah, it's totally independent, so.
Good. I will say the 2 nominated novellas that I've read are Even Though I Knew the End, and Where the Drowned Girls Go. And then I've also read The Bruising of Kilwa, because Nassim Jamnia is nominated for The Astounding, and I liked that better than either of the two nominated novellas I've read so far.
I nominated The Bruising of Quilwa.
I did too. Like, it wasn't my favorite novella, but I think it was exploring some really interesting themes. I think there was so much in the novella that it either could have been expanded to be a short novel, or there might have been some things that could have been pared back.
Yeah. I just think it's a stronger book than, like, Where the Drowned Girls Go. Like, I would put that on the short list over Where the Drowned Girls Go. I don't know.
Which novellas have you read so far? Did you read the Adrian Tchaikovsky?
Not
or was
yet.
that in the other? Yeah.
I have not read that one yet.
I don't think it's worth reading.
It's short though, so like
It's short. I will be disappointed if that one wins. I mean, I'm a fan of Tchaikovsky, but I don't get the hype for that one.
That's strong words. Disappointed? Okay.
I'm disappointed if it wins.
The way that it's written in second person. It's written to you, and I hate that. I mean, just personal pet peeve. If you're going to write something in second person, it better be for a really good or really obvious reason, or you better be like N.K. Jemisin and really invest me.
I was just gonna say that. Wait, but N.K. Jemisin did that very
She
successfully.
didn't write her entire trilogy in second person, though. She included it in some interstitial stuff that made you go, oh, who is speaking? This was not like that, and I think it was supposed to pay off in the ending, and yet I thought the ending was not in the least bit surprising. So yeah.
I'm trying to think what other books I've read that are in second person other than the 5th season, and I think Harrow the Ninth was in second person.
Yeah, I
parts
haven't
of
read
it
it,
are.
but I know at least a good chunk of it is in second person.
Yeah.
And
And you realize why by the end, but it's confusing until then.
I'm not sure because I haven't read Harrow yet, but based on how Gideon the Ninth ended, I have a guess why the second person narration exists in Harrow.
You might be right, but I don't remember if it was the whole book or only parts of it. I read that book too long ago. I don't remember it.
Too bad Maya isn't here. She would know.
I cannot think of any other books I've actually... So, like, I don't have a negative impression of second person narration because I've read so little of it. And what I have read has been decently good.
I think maybe I got burned somewhere along the lines with basically like debut writers trying to use second person for something kind of edgy and different, but not really having the skill to pull it off. And so I sort of associate it with, you're trying a little bit too hard to do something funky and cool with your writing. And instead I'm just sitting here going, why are you talking to me? I'm not this person.
You have that with second person narration. I have the deepest loathing for first person narration. And unfortunately, first person narration is a lot more common.
Yeah, it is.
Like give me like a third person unreliable narrator any day of the week. Thank you. Third person, please.
Yes.
I like to be behind the character, not like in their head or like being addressed.
Yep.
So I have expressed my general disappointment with the novella category, having not read very many of them yet. I mentioned this to Dai when I saw you, but after Hugo reading is over, I am vaguely planning on doing like a whole month of reading things like published prior to 2020. So like not old books necessarily, but like backlist, because I have so many years of books that I've been so excited to read for so long, just sitting on my shelves, that I've never gotten to because I'm stuck on the new release treadmill. And I have been like putting together lists of books that I would like love to drop everything and read. And I'm getting so kind of excited about this like very, very mildly themed project that I'm almost wondering if I should like make an official readathon or something out of it. I've never done that before, but
yeah. If you need help,
Backlist reading, yes.
if you need help,
like a
Well,
month of no new releases.
So it's like basically the reverse of the new release-a-thon. It's like
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
no new
I would
releases.
do this. I would participate in a heartbeat. That would be so nice for my TBR.
I have so many new releases I
if
need
you
to get
if you
to
need
on my
help,
shelves.
I can help behind the scenes.
I
I have
would
now
love help
hosted like
because I
what,
have
6
no idea.
readathons?
I have no idea what to do in terms of turning this into a readathon. I have only the vaguest notion that I would like to drag other people into reading no new releases for a month with me.
I think at bare minimum, you just have to be really excited and make a hashtag for it. So
And
Okay,
like an announcement.
yeah.
You don't necessarily even need a challenges other than, hey, this is the month.
Right. I don't think
This
it's
is
a
the
challenge. I think
challenge.
the only challenge is read books published prior to 2020.
I mean, maybe not challenges, but like points. Like you get a certain number of points for like how, like when it was published, extra points if it's from a diverse author.
Oh, a point system would be interesting. Yes, I welcome suggestions.
You can even have like hat icons for like level 1. Read one book, you get like a little straw hat. And then level 2, level 3, and then the final one is like a silk top hat.
I don't really do challenges anymore, but I like it when there are like these optional prompts to kind of help you just choose things from your TBR for a readathon.
Yeah.
And if it's backlist, you can do so much with like, you know, what the age of it is, like the time range for maybe what qualifies. It's not a classic. Maybe it's from the last couple of decades.
Read something that is as old as you are.
Read
Like
something,
specifically from the year you were born, for example.
So much backlist reading for people is trying to catch up on series. You could totally do one for like working your way on trying to catch up on a series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but definitely do it.
Yes.
Do it.
I will have to come up with a name for it or something.
Backlistathon.
Backlistathon.
You think it's already been done though?
I mean, you can
Has
just
no new
you can
release
just
been
Google.
done? No.
No new release.
Okay, so I am seeing some stuff from like 2020 that's backlistathon, but it's like 2 videos if I'm doing a Google site search.
Do I have to call it an athon? Can I call it like...
You can just call it a backlist reading challenge if you want.
A backlist reading challenge or a backlist reading month?
Yeah, basically. It doesn't have to be too deep.
I feel like things don't have to be a thon anymore. Like the thon.
The thorns have been athoned.
the readathon fad has passed. We can maybe just do reading challenges. I don't know.
What a controversial take. But yeah, I fully
old stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
How old is old, though?
according to Gen Z, anything prior to 2000 is already old.
I don't like. I've done like Maya hosted the classic women in SFF readathon that I'm blanking on the name of, where it was
That's pretty much is that is pretty much it.
Published prior to 2000, but like I'm not even necessarily going all the way back to 2000 with the books I want to read, because like I have so many books from like the 2010s, which was my, you know, first decade on BookTube. And I bought so many books.
The read that old stuff challenge is like
all those books I bought in my first few years of BookTube are still sitting on my shelves.
I mean, let's not look too deep.
You could probably do a whole
still
challenge
for them.
You could probably do a whole challenge just themed around old booktubers.
Throwback reading month.
Yeah.
Anyways,
oh boy.
Keep an eye peeled for some sort of announcement, because I'm figuring out what I want this to be.
Yeah, definitely.
But like I'm so excited. I want to do rereads. Like I want to do more rereads of old favorites. I have like whole lists in my notes app of all the books I want to read, and that's like a whole year's worth of books. It's not just 1 month. I'm not going to do this for a whole year.
December actually might be a good time for that.
December?
I mean,
like in terms of themes, like it's just kind of, you're closing out the year. You're just kind of like being comfy, being cozy, not trying to like overwhelm.
I don't know if I can put it off till December. I'm so excited to do it.
That's fair.
I mean, I've had similar.
Excited to do it, yeah.
I've had similar thoughts about, because I had the Shorts and Sorcery book club, and I have been thinking about, like, because of my like hiatus and stuff like that, that maybe I should at some point come back with like a Shorts and Sorcery reading challenge, or Shorts and Sorcery like reading month, where we just read as much short stories or short fiction as possible, and you can just choose like what you want to read, and it's like not a curated like list or something, because I need some like bounds to like get me back into hosting that, because like I like being held accountable and like getting more short fiction read because I was hosting that book club.
Yep. Is that everything you've been reading, Kelsey?
Yeah, I think so. It's just been Hugo reading. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Hugo reading, I've done a little bit because Joe and I buddy read the Terry Pratchett biography by Rob Wilkins that is on the best related work category, and I think we both really enjoyed it. It was a very fun book. I have a hard time saying that because, of course, it ends with Terry Pratchett, you know, early onset Alzheimer's, deteriorating rapidly, and then dying. But the book itself feels very much in the vein of his humor and his approach to his life and his career and everything. And it was lovely. So I spent most of my reading time reading that because I haven't been reading a lot recently. So that was fun. And I also finished reading The Sinister Booksellers of Bath by Garth Nix. It's the sequel to The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, which I still think is one of the best book titles ever. And this series is like slightly, ever so slightly alternate history, early 1980s in England. And it's basically mythic fantasy. It's about like this whole group of related booksellers who they're tasked with basically managing the old world and its interactions with, you know, the contemporary world. Some of them are left-handed and some of them are right-handed. Some of them are even-handed. It's a whole thing.
Must be ambidextrous.
Well, even-handed has a slightly different connotation from ambidextrous.
Okay.
It literally has to do with a like ritual that they go through that actually changes their hand. Not like a weird thing, but it's magical.
It sounded a weird thing. Like I just like keep imagining like hands rotating and suddenly your left hand would just be facing the other way like this, and your thumbs would be on the opposing sides.
No, they get imbued with like a magical talent basically, and it changes the appearance of their hand, so they tend to wear gloves, so you can tell what they are by which hand they're wearing a glove on. So the left-handed are the fighters, like the defenders. They do all the violent stuff, they handle all the weapons. And the right-handed are the researchers, the absolute academic geeks. And I'm not really sure what the specialty of the even-handed ones are, but I guess they could just do both. So
it's interesting because like if you think about the like historical precedent of like left-handed people being like, for example, shunned from the military.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually kind of interesting, like having like specifically like the left-handed people.
Mm-hmm.
They are the fighters, and like.
Interestingly, I'm not sure that the terms in the world building actually have anything to do with people's dominant hands. I think it's literally just equated to their skill type. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's just how my brain automatically goes. Like that's a like interesting.
I'm wondering now, like there's obviously going to be a third book in this series, and I want to know what it's going to be called, because we have left-handed and we have sinister. So if we continue with this trend, we need another term for left-handed, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Southpaw.
What? Southpaw?
Southpaw is a term for left-handed.
I don't. Okay, so I think that one
was sinister a term for left-handed?
Yes. Dexter and sinister. Dexter is right, sinister is left. Yeah. This is Latin, right? It's the Latin root.
Southpaw, a left-handed person, especially a left-handed baseball pitcher.
Huh. I think Southpaw is I feel like it's a very American term.
Yeah.
And this is a very based in London, England sort of series. I don't know. Also, Southpaw, that word is so similar to a character's name in the series that I think it would probably be not used because of that. Unless they bring that character back. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. The series is an absolute fun romp. One of the main characters, so the main character is a demi-human. It's all part of the plot. I won't spoil anything there, but her love interest, one of the left-handed booksellers named Merlin, he has this thing about clothing. There's this whole like sequence in this book where he convinces a friend from the BBC costuming department to loan him a dress used from a Jane Austen adaptation from like the 1970s or something, and he was wearing this dress throughout a large portion of this book while defeating gargoyles. And the whole time I was just like, how are you going to explain the fact that you are ruining this beautiful dress?
BBC is not gonna be happy, but when are they ever?
And at the end of it, he's like, I don't think I'm going to be getting any more dresses from the BBC.
Aww.
So he's a hoot. I love him, and I like that in every scene change in the series, You can tell that Garth Nix just really wants to talk about the 1980s. I think he actually lived in England in the 1980s. So he's just referring to all the stuff that he knew back then when he was young and cool and maybe a bit punk. So with every scene change, you get to hear about what people are wearing, all of their 1980s fashion, and like what kind of cars they're driving and stuff like that. So
those books are YA, right?
You know, I was wondering about this.
They're technically YA. They're done by, I think it's like one of those weird things where
they are classified as YA by most libraries, I think. I know my library does. However, the characters don't feel like teenagers. It doesn't feel like YA fantasy to me.
Yeah, because I was very confused when I first learned about those books because they're published by a YA publisher, at least in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But I read the book description and I'm like, this doesn't sound YA.
Mm-hmm. The way the characters behave, the way that they're written, everything, yeah, they're younger. Like I think Susan, the main character, she's just entered university, so she might be like 19, 20 at this point. But she and Merlin both, the way they present themselves, they just seem older. Like if you had to classify it as something, I would say at least new adult or adult, not young adult. But
interesting. I've been wondering if it would be permissible for me to derail the topic of conversation a little bit, because I was thinking last night that I have like no idea what the popular YA books are this year.
Heartstopper.
No. Like what came out this year.
Oh.
Like what's going to be on the Lodestar shortlist next year, or what's going to be the Goodreads Choice Award nominees for YA fantasy.
Oh my God, I have no idea.
I haven't, and I feel like I should know because I've been on TikTok, but like the only YA releases from this year that have stood out to me on TikTok that are like, okay, these are going to be Goodreads Choice Award nominees are Divine Rivals and
Divine Rivals. I would not be shocked.
A Study in Drowning, which is not out yet, but like both of those are books by adult authors whose adult stuff I would rather read before reading their YA books. So
is Fourth Wing YA or
no?
Watch it be nominated for the Oscar anyways. I'm sorry, I should not curse it like that.
I mean,
I think
exactly.
Spicy YA is a thing. I hear a lot more about spicy fantasy romance right now than something that's like definitely YA.
I think
will say, like,
yeah, go on.
I truly wish violence on whoever came up with the term YA but spicy. Like that person needs to be smacked with a brick.
Yeah,
but like in terms
why
of
can't it just
YA,
be adult?
I feel like we've been having a bummer year for YA SFF because I'm not seeing like excitement and love, like real genuine excitement and love for many YA SFF releases this year. And it kind of worries me a little. Like, what's going on, YA industry? Where are you?
So I think part of it is we're starting to get to like the pandemic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think part of it is like editorial turnover, the fact that you're kind of what we're seeing with spicy, like YA but spicy, you're seeing people gravitate more towards like those types of books.
Yeah, people like talking more about like adult like fantasy romance rather than YA, especially on TikTok now.
I mean, that's fine. I'm happy to hear about your adult fantasy romance, but
I do wonder how much the Simon and Schuster like strike earlier this year,
the
like,
HarperCollins.
Oh, sorry, HarperCollins. Like how much that will have an effect on like trends coming up next year.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. Well, because we also like just had the shuttering of an entire YA imprint at HarperCollins.
Yeah.
Which one?
Peachtree, I think, or no, Inkyard. That one used to be Harlequin Teen, and it just they shut it down within the last couple of months, and it was really sudden too. Like,
what's gonna be interesting is that what's gonna happen in the Lodestar next year when Naomi Novik cannot be nominated because she's not coming up with another adult book.
Yeah, you weren't here last month, Reija, but I ended up reading the entire series.
Oh wow!
Because, like, despite the fact that I thought I do think that they are adult books, I have a series review film that I need to edit and make somewhat coherent, but she did and I thought A Deadly Education was pretty mid, but the last like 2 lines made me really, it was like, God damn it, now I want to read book 2 to figure out what the hell is going on. And then book 2 was better. Like, I still had issues with some pacing stuff. But
was it less info dumpy than the first one?
It was less info dumpy, but the problem was, so books 1 and 2 take place over a fairly compressed period of time. Like, book 1 is like the last month or so of Elle's junior year, and then book 3 is like the first month, like few months after she graduates. But book 2 takes place over an entire year. And so there's a lot of things that, like, especially compared to the first book, that are kind of skipped over or like don't get much detail. So I think like that was one of my issues with like the pacing and stuff. But then I liked book 2 better. And then the end of book 2 happened. I'm like, God damn it, I need to read book 3 right away and figure out what happened. So like in terms of like keeping readers engaged, she did a good job. But yeah.
Yeah, I was just personally so annoyed by book 1 that I can't do that to myself and even try to
That's
go. That's
completely fair.
I think I tried to read book 1 and then complained this whole like.
Book 1 is so info dumpy. Like, I thought I was misremembering how info dumpy it was because I tried reading it in 2020 and bounced off it. I'm like, maybe it was the fact that I tried reading it when I was in a massive depressive episode. No, I was misremembering how info dumpy it was. It was worse.
I think it's one that I flipped through and went, wow, everybody in this novel hates each other and they're so unkind. And I was in that phase of my life where I was like, I can't read about people being just horrible to each other.
I don't think that's it. Like, I do think one of the things I actually really liked about this series is that Elle as a character is really grumpy and angry, and she's never punished for being grumpy and angry. Like, she ends up getting friends. Like, one of the, I think the best relationships in the book is her friendship with 2 other girls, and like how her becoming friends with them and like what they go through is very formative. I would say even more so than her romance with Orion Lake. But
the names in that book though.
But yeah, so I do think it's not like everyone's mean to each other for the entire book. Like, people are kind of mean to Elle at the beginning, and Elle is like understandably very grumpy and angry about that, but I like that like her core doesn't, like, that grumpiness and angriness doesn't necessarily go away throughout the series, and that anger and grumpiness kind of like it changes focus. It's less focused on like people individually and more like being angry at the systems that set that up.
That I would find more interesting than just people being unpleasant to each other at Magic.
Yeah, so book 1. So the other thing I liked about the series is it does a good job of escalation. So like book 1 is pretty narrowly focused and like what their goals are, and it starts introducing some of the systems, and then we get more explanations of it in book 2. And then in book 3, once we're out of the Scholomance, we kind of get like the biggest picture.
So wait, the third book doesn't even take place at the school?
I mean, book 2 is called The Last Graduate, so.
I
Okay.
guess I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they weren't perfect books, but like once I was able to get past book 1, I did like the project that she was doing with it. I just think book 1 is really weak, and also they're not YA, so. don't be on the fucking Lodestar shortlist, Naomi.
Anyways, now I'm really, really concerned that there are going to be a whole ton of other adult books on the Lodestar shortlist next year. Just because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of hype for a whole lot of YA SFF books this year, and I'm worried.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep an eye out for what Alex Brown recommends, because they're kind of my go-to source as to like YA SFF, because they do so much really good work, not just with their Tor.com column, but like what they have on their website with like their reading lists and stuff. And they do really good roundups as to like new releases. So that's honestly what I'm going to do, is probably in January, take a look at what they've posted and then start kind of checking out some of their recommendations.
Yeah. Have you been reading anything else, Rachel?
Oh yeah, I should we tangent ends
here.
I
with a tangent, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I just wasn't paying attention.
Also, I've been like sort of meditatively watching you doing your spinning this whole time. I'm the sort of person that can just sort of zone out watching another person do a thing for like a long period of time.
I'm trying really hard to not zone out myself while I'm doing it. It's so like soothing and repetitive.
I feel like for me, it's more soothing to watch you do it than it would be to do it myself.
Maybe. Oh, all right. So I am in the middle of way too many books. I keep starting things and just not continuing on with them, and I don't know why, but I'm going to try to finish Kundo Wakes Up by Sadzi Hossein this week, because it's short. It's a little novella.
Is that the same author who did Frankenstein in Baghdad?
No.
No, that was Ahmed Sadawi. Never mind, yeah. My brain is somewhere
this
completely
guy
else.
Wrote The Gurkha and the Lord of Tuesday, which I read before and I quite enjoyed it, which is why I bought a copy of Kundo Wakes Up. I'm not far enough into it really to know what's going on, but I think it's set in the same world as The Gurkha, which is kind of like a very far future Bangladesh, where basically people have to live in like cities protected by nanotechnology or something, because if you go outside, like there's no breathable air. So it's kind of like in the future we live in domes and AI takes care of everything, that sort of thing. I think it's supposed to be a little bit cyberpunky, which I don't usually get along with, but I think the setting, like this part of the world, is really interesting. So I'm gonna finish that. And it just so happens that everything else that I'm like really intensively reading right now is for work, and I could go into detail about that, but I don't think you guys really want me to go on a really long spiel about why I think that evaluation criteria for content modeling and CMS is important. So
we're glad you think it's important, though.
It's fun to read, but not fun to describe unless you're also like...
Good for you.
To give you some idea of where I'm headed, like I'm doing a lot of reading for a specific work project, and my book that came on yesterday, The Accidental Taxonomist, 500 pages of talking shop about ontologies and taxonomies. Ugh. I've actually read this book before. I read the first edition like 10 years ago, so. Yes, I can get excited about that sort of thing.
Very happy for you.
If we're gonna talk media, can I?
Yes, we are coming up on an hour and a half, and we said we were going to be a little bit shorter, so we want to do abbreviated media section.
Let's put it this way. I have a few things
okay.
to talk about. Especially one that I started Baldur's Gate 3 today, and I already got like 3 hours in, and the only reason I had to stop is that our live stream was creeping up, and then I was like, oh no, I should not cancel my participation in the live stream just so I can fail at negotiating with dwarves in Baldur's Gate 3.
Wait, so does this mean that you have abandoned your run through Hades again?
No, okay, so hear me out. Hear me out. Baldur's Gate might be my new hyperfixation for the foreseeable future. So my friend sold me on like back in the 90s. I played Baldur's Gate 2, like the early 2000s, as you say. But so I have a lot of good memories from Baldur's Gate 2. And Baldur's Gate 3 is basically like everyone, like at work, at like social gathering, everywhere. Everyone has been raving about Baldur's Gate 3. And then my friend said, and sent me a reel on Instagram and said, hey, this is why you should play Baldur's Gate. And there's a druid you can romance who can turn into a bear. And when you go into the romanceable scene, he is a bear and he asks you, do you want me to turn back into a human? And you can choose not to have him turn back into a human. Yeah.
Have you gotten to this part yet?
No, I just started. I spent like 2 hours in the character creation screen trying to like decide what kind of character
How long
I
does it take you to get through a video game like this?
That is 100% why I want to buy the game, but I need to be fiscally responsible this month because I'm going on a trip with a friend in a few weeks, and I'm like, I cannot drop $70 on a video game when I'm going to be in Napa where everything is hella expensive.
Yeah, same. I was kind of like, I was trying not to, and then the last week being sick, I bought it as a consolation for myself. I deserved it after, so I was kind of like, okay, I can.
That like having COVID is I deserve a treat.
Yeah, basically, I survived. I need this. But yeah, basically, I created a very cute Zariel tiefling bard who is a charlatan. So they get like extra like boost on sleight of hand and deception, and they're a bard. And it's awesome. So I've been just like bardic inspiring all of my team, like party members, and like playing my little flute.
I'm debating because I kind of want to recreate one of my D&D characters, except none of my subclasses are in the game. So I can't be a Way of Mercy monk, which is basically the I'm a healer but meme. Like you're basically
you sort of kind of can, but not in the same way, because
I can't be a circle of fire druid, which you summon a little fire friend with your wild shape and they can throw fire at people.
Yeah, that you can't do, I don't think.
No.
Unless you are a dragonkin druid or the dragonborn, and you take the dragonborn that has the fire ability.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of do that, because then you can combine it with the druid thing, but it like kind of doesn't have the familiar. Anyway, Baldur's Gate has been very fun. Like before the live stream, I got into a situation where I was trying to get into a dungeon, and they wouldn't let me in. So I decided the bold move was to lie and say that I was the boss of the people who were inside. And I rolled like a critical hit and was like, yes, this is going to work. And the moment they opened the door and realized I'm not the person, they were like, who the fuck are you? And decided to ambush me. And there were like 7 people. And I was like, no, I can't do this. My party consists of 2 members at the moment. So it was like a gang fight. And then I dipped from the save before I died and was like, okay, I'm going to go back later and like rethink this through. I'm not gonna lie that I'm their boss.
So what is like the plot or the point of this game?
So it's basically Forgotten Realms. If you've ever read any Forgotten Realms books, like Salvator's Drizzt Do'Urden, basically, it's like basically it's a turn-based D&D campaign, but like Forgotten Realms, basically. So it has all of the races and like character classes from Forgotten Realms, and the game starts with you escaping. Like you've basically been captured by a clan of mind flayers, and they've been trying to turn you into a mind flayer thrall, and then something happens that the mind flayers, like the Nautilus ship, is being like attacked, and you basically have to escape the ship, and you have these parasites inside your head that might turn you into a mind flayer if you don't find a healer. And that's basically where I'm at right now. I'm desperately trying to find a healer before the ticking time bomb parasite tadpole in my brain turns me into a mind flayer tentacle monster.
What's funny is so this was maybe a year and a half ago at this point. So in one of our D&D games, the party got kidnapped by mind flayers, and only our wizard was like the perfect person to undergo Ceramatophis, because like we had an Aasimar, a half elf, a halfling, and a tiefling, and apparently like for most D&D lore, like the lore that our DM's going off of, they're like not ideal candidates for it. And so they're like, oh, well, we have a human wizard, we're going to use her. And so we had that same thing where we were like trying to figure out like, okay, how do we save Yelena from becoming a mind flayer?
Yeah.
It ended up us teaming up with one of our party members, Nemesis, who everyone else in the party like is like super it's like the Kate Beaton Nemesis comic.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the party is just super amused by it. But we ended up teaming up with him to like deal with it, because he's like, I have a genie and like I can give you a wish if you do this thing for me. And we're like, well, he only really hates Alinar. Other than that, he's like not that sketchy.
Yeah, I'm basically like just this game is fun in the way that I'm basically going in completely not knowing anything about anything, and it's kind of rekindling and reigniting all of my memories of like, first of all, reading Forgotten Realms books, and also playing the first like Baldur's Gate games, and like all the tabletop things. So it's like it's been really interesting. Yeah, I already put 3 hours in. I would have put more this weekend, but like had to spend time with relatives. So, and then of course I've been watching anime because Jujutsu Kaisen Shibuya Incident arc is happening.
I am actually very excited about this. The end of the last episode, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
They are actually gonna unleash Gojo on everybody. He's not just gonna be like conveniently absent for an entire story arc.
Well, okay, let's put it this way: the next like few dozen, like the next dozen weeks are gonna be suffering, because like Shibuya arc goes hard. I'm very excited to see how they're gonna animate all of the scenes from the manga, because like,
okay, is a favorite character gonna die? Damn it.
I can neither confirm nor deny your suspicion, but let's put it this way:
no,
I would have tissues on hand, because it's gonna be rough.
You you right away and tell me if it's Gojo, okay? I need to be prepared.
Okay.
I don't mind spoilers.
Yes, I will let you know immediately. But
like, speaking of spoilers, I did finish Arsenic and Adobo Die. I'm on to the second book now. I haven't gotten that far into it, but you know I got caught up in this and I was asking questions.
Yes. I love the dentist though. Like Dr. Park is.
I like that there's not much of him at the end of the book. I was like, okay. When's he gonna show up? But also, like, how the heck is the detective his older brother? Like, how old? Like, there's a significant gap between them.
I honestly think the dentist was a surprise baby.
Like 20 years later.
Hey, don't judge.
Sometimes things happen.
Yeah, sometimes people have like personal lives.
Honestly, it's been a while since
don't
I've
worry,
read
Ramsey.
Nick and
JJK
Ajova, so
movie.
I can't remember like the exact situation, but yeah,
Is it explained?
I can't remember.
Okay, well, I'll get there eventually. So anyway, back to Jujutsu Kaisen. I have seen the movie.
I went to see it in the movies when it came out here. But yeah, like I will say one of my proudest accomplishments for this year has been indoctrinating, or I should say, like converting Rachel to Jujutsu Kaisen.
I think it's been more consistently good for me than My Happy Marriage, which is saying something because that made me so happy in the beginning, but I was not very happy with the last episode of My Happy
Yeah, the
Marriage.
latest episode was a little like.
Have you seen it, Kelsey?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
The latest episode, not really. The only good like the only thing that made me like be like was that they showed they showed the main male protagonist's sisters, like Hazuki's abilities, like what she can do. And that was interesting. And it was like a short one-off. They just showed her doing some magic. And I was like, oh, she's magical. Yay. And other than that, I was just like, read between the lines, just like, I hate this.
I am watching this show for the feels. I want it to be absolutely sappy, like just saccharine. I want to see these two characters just melt into each other. And instead, he's a royal screw up and hasn't properly apologized. And she just won't voice an opinion about everything. Instead, people are fighting duels over her. And I'm like, this is stupid. You could just say what you want, and this would be over.
I will say that all of my suspicions have been true so far about like everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. So at least there's that. It's either very derivative. What?
We're finally gonna get backstory about the mother.
Yes,
and
yes.
I like knowing about this, but
I would want some backstory on the love interest.
Right. That's what I was saying last month when you weren't here. I need to know things about him because he's a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, he's like good looking, and at this economy, that's not enough.
What a beautiful man.
Yes. Unfortunately, I need some more substance. Show me the bank statements, the red flag relatives, and all of that. I need to know what my girl is marrying into, you know.
Right.
I just want more
before
scenes.
I can give my approval.
I just want more scenes where she cooks and he likes it, and maybe a hairbrushing scene.
Yeah, the hairbrushing scene. They tease it in the like opening credits of the thing because they show off like each of their gifts. Like she's combing her hair with the comb that he gives her, and he has his hair braided with the cord thing. So it's like, and I'm like, go deeper, please. Just. But yeah, I've also been watching Demon Slayer.
I was going to ask if you continued with that because it was so.
I did continue. Here's the thing. I hate all of the main characters. I am solely watching Demon Slayer for the animation quality and all the side characters, like all of the Hashira, like the basically the demon corps, like the captains, basically the elite captains. We didn't get that far when I was watching it when you were here. Okay. But basically, they're these like elite swordsmen who are like these like the best of the best, and those are the most interesting characters. And I'm like, I don't give a crap about Tanjiro and his sister complex and.
Is like half all of the dialogue just him still yelling his sister's name?
Not anymore.
Okay.
The show isn't as yelly anymore because now there's like more interesting characters who are doing a lot of the talking.
Oh, so they have actual things to say.
Yes, yes. And so now I'm in season 3 now, and it has like so far my favorite character has been introduced. He's a polyamorous hunk with 3 wives.
Only
who
wives?
who is kind.
Only
Yes.
wives?
Well, he has 3 wives.
I know, but like he could throw in a husband too, right?
I mean, I guess he could, but he's like
not that kind of anime.
like here's the thing. So one of the things regarding, because like, so Demon Slayer is originally like written by, there's some debate like about the gender of the author, but
Oh, it's not
the author is not a man, as far as has been established.
Oh.
And that said, Demon Slayer is so gender essentialist. Like, and I know that it's like part of the reason is that it's like literally published in Shonen Jump, and Shonen Jump is like geared exclusively towards like it's very traditional shonen magazine for young boys, like teen boys, and like it's very, very traditional and very like up, like, because it's very like established and like old. Like I started reading Shonen Jump titles when I was like 15, so it's been like it's been a long time. And the thing is that like Shonen Jump editors tend to put a lot of constraints on the authors on like story decisions, because a lot of the, like, for example, like story beats and stuff, like the authors get put into like a voting system each week and also each month, and the readership votes which series are the best. And if your series is constantly struggling at the lowest tier of the voting, you get axed out of the magazine. Yeah, and that's a thing. So the authors are under a lot of pressure to listen to editorial input based on the voting metrics, and that influences quite a bit what kind of stuff gets published and put into the series. And I feel like that definitely has affected, like, the Demon Slayer. I was expecting it to be a lot better because everyone was raving about it, like, it's so great and it's so awesome, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but it's like very mid. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, like, it's hugely popular. It's like one of the best selling manga series and like one of the best selling like anime of like all time, not even just like the past decade, but it's like all time. It's like very popular, and it's like, it's basically like put anime and manga in mainstream in the like US, for example. Like that's like, it's literally the anime trailers for the latest season were like shown on Times Square on the big screens.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's how big it is, like, globally. And it's so mid.
Although I will say, like, big screens on Times Square is not as high a bar as some people think it is. There are some really, like, why is this on Times Square things.
I mean, sure, but in terms of like how niche niche anime has been like previously. But it's like, yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, those are yes, I'm still continuing, but like those are the things I have been watching.
Ramsey also mentioned Skip and Loafer, which I'm about halfway through on Crunchyroll right now. And I thought it was going to be a bit too twee, but actually I'm really into it now.
I have loved it. It's so good.
I can see now why people like it's so highly rated. It really is like solid, and I really like the characters and like the interactions between the kids at school and stuff. It's really nice.
I highly recommend you pick up the manga if you like the anime, because the manga goes further on.
I was just going to ask, like, I know there's talk of like a season 2, but clearly the manga must be like much
Yeah,
further along with the storyline.
The manga is much further along and like
Yeah.
continues on, and also like there is no confirmation yet if second season is happening.
Okay.
So
I'd be shocked if there wasn't, since it's so well liked, but I don't know who
Yeah.
decides these things.
But yeah, I especially like the relationship between the main character and her aunt, and how her aunt is not really like, nobody questions her aunt, like in terms of like her gender or gender expression. Like for context, her aunt is trans, but like, for example, all of the like none of the main characters in the series, it never comes to question. There isn't like this what's the word, like this kind of like coming out or like oppression arc where her struggle is like somehow made a plot point. Like she's just like living her life
very fashionably.
Yes. Has anyone else been watching anything?
You're muted, Di. Di, you're muted.
Sorry, I muted myself because there's something going on in the apartment complex across the street from me that was very loud. But the one non-struck work thing I can talk about is Strange Eons released a hour-and-a-half long YouTube video about Bit of Earth, specifically Andy Blake and his role in like that, one of his first like cults.
First cults?
Yeah. Oh, there were multiple.
Had more than one?
There are multiple.
Wait, which cults?
So, Bit of Earth, the Dumbledore's Army in the Year of Darkness, and I think he tried to start up some. So, there's a fan lore page that I can send you on our group chat, but basically, the TLDR is Andy Blake is this serial bad actor in fandom, and he will show up in different fandoms. So he got his start. Oh,
Jammy's Jams.
He got his start in the Lord of the Rings fandom, or I think he might have started earlier, but like he became infamous with the Lord of the Rings fandom, and he like, this was back before he transitioned. So he like started this group, and it was called A Bit of Earth, and he was like, I'm channeling Frodo, and my girlfriend is channeling Sam, and it was and there was like failed conventions, and like Sean Astin got involved, and then he and his ex aren't allowed to do any charitable work in the state of Oregon for various reasons. Like, I recommend like, it is like a deep cut of fandom lore, and I think there's going to be more because, like I said, he is a serial bad actor, and he's shown up in Harry Potter fandom, he's shown up in Supernatural. He like tried to get in with Critical Role when people were like, absolutely the fuck not. And then he showed up within the last year as like on Twitter as Crafty Cat Dad, because he had this whole thread about, oh, well, I feel so empowered by like helping people who might be feeling dysphoria, finding like the right corset or the right outfit for them. And someone's like, yeah, this is like kind of gross coming from someone who like has been accused of like triggering body dysphoria in people.
Yeah.
So I will send you the fan lore page, but if you have the time to spare and like mind trigger warnings, which I think she put on, Strange Eons put on, it is a deep cut of fandom lore.
It's always worrying when there's a fandom lore page about someone. That's worrying.
I will say I
Maybe.
am
been too long
super,
without
super
a jam
basic. I am also looking forward to the Taylor Swift concert coming out next month. Concert movie, because I wanted to see the Eras tour, but I could not justify spending that much money to go to.
Someone paid like $15,000 for a ticket.
Jesus, just wait for the movie to come out.
Well, we didn't know there was going to be a movie.
Yeah. And they
Um,
basically the prices went up to shit because of the dynamic pricing model. So basically, like it's basically Live Nation and Ticketmaster price gouging, and the like more demand there is for a certain ticket type, the more the price bracket goes up. It happened for Coldplay recently over here as well, like the Finland concert tours for Coldplay. Like people were paying like 700 euros for tickets, and people were like pissed.
Yeah, so because
people are that excited about Coldplay in Finland.
That shook me as well. Like I was like, I don't know a single person who likes Coldplay or tells like or publicly announces that they are a fan of Coldplay, but suddenly everyone was going crazy over these tickets. And like,
because anyway, there was no show near me, so I would have had to travel to see a show. So I would have probably gone to LA because I have family there, but I just couldn't justify spending that money. So I am excited that there is a concert movie that did have an interim agreement with SAG-AFTRA, so it has not struck work. And she did a run around the studios because they were like she didn't like the deal that they were offering her, so she bargained directly with the movie theaters. So
will it only be in theaters or will it be streamed?
I don't know if it will be streamed, but it is going to be in theaters initially.
I would probably watch it if it was being streamed. I'm not even like a Taylor Swift fan. I just think it's interesting.
I would actually say that I wish more concerts were being like brought to like movie theaters as a sort of like cheaper alternative for going live.
Really hoping Beyonce does that with the Renaissance tour. Because she's another one where I think like that's something where a lot of people want to go, but don't necessarily can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ramsey, it's going to be 2 hours, 45 minutes.
Yeah, because probably there isn't gonna... Well, probably the intermission is going to be cut from it, right?
Yeah, they're cutting like costume changes and set changes.
Still, I feel like 2.5 hours or whatever, they're going to need to give you a moment to get up and use the restroom.
That's the like average length of a modern thing, isn't it?
Modern thing.
A modern thing, whatever that may be.
Too long to be sitting straight in a movie theater. I haven't been in a movie theater in years.
See, next year the Tuska Festival is gonna have Bring Me the Horizon, and I don't even like Bring Me the Horizon, but
I'm so jealous about the fact that it's Paramore and Taylor Swift because I do love Paramore. Like Hayley Williams, I love her voice so much.
I never got into Paramore.
I like Paramore, but like not like my super favorite. But anyway, like for example, Bad Omens, which is one of my favorite bands, is currently like they're gonna be touring with Bring Me the Horizon next year. So I'm manifesting that because Bring Me the Horizon is a main stager, main attraction for Tuska, that maybe Bad Omens is gonna happen for Tuska as well. I'm hoping. I'm sincerely keeping my fingers crossed. Because I can't justify buying like plane tickets and concert tickets just to go see a band in another country. I can't justify it.
You could turn it into a whole trip.
I mean, yeah, but also I have Glasgow next year. So
I know.
That's a priority.
I'm not going to have barely any vacation time left over after Glasgow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm we shall see. Like people were already like kind of laughing at me for like because I'm gonna be like like my this year's summer vacation is actually gonna be in January.
But it's New Zealand. I feel like people
It's
should.
gonna be summer there.
Yeah, it is gonna be.
It's
But
a
it's basically
summer
like
vacation.
But it's
Excuse me?
basically like next year I'm gonna have like almost 6 weeks off because I maneuvered this year's holidays that they are next year. So
Lucky.
it's just that this year I'm gonna be tired and exhausted.
Well, I fetched Jammy for you all, and I felt really, really mean about it because she was sleeping in the back of the wardrobe, and I like tried to pull her out, and she cried at me that she was displeased. But
Oh.
by then it was too late. I had already disturbed her.
Aw.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna see if I can get Leia.
And so now she's here, and I'm trying to console her, but she's still in nap mode.
No Hermes for me, unfortunately.
She looks pretty chill.
Hi.
Leia!
She's not as grumpy as she looks.
The sisters from another mister.
Yeah. Jammy is grumpier than she looks because I disturbed her slumber.
Leia was kind of awake. She just didn't want to move. That's right. My little gordita.
Should have let her sleep, but then you wouldn't have seen her.
Do we have any more media stuff to talk about? We are actually coming up on our usual 2-hour mark, so.
If I can give just like one little shout out for another animated thing I am watching. I've been watching the Chinese animated show Soulmate Adventure on YouTube. It is wuxia with like teenage girl protagonists that are like very, very, very mildly implied lesbians. Mostly I am enjoying it just seeing like female protagonists doing all the cool martial arts instead of just being sidekicks and love interests, like, and getting their epic level ups of their special abilities. The first, I'm recommending this now because I think both seasons are free to watch on YouTube at the moment. The first season is usually behind a paywall. And it's a little rough to get into because the first few episodes were made like one episode a year for like 3 years in a row before the whole first season got greenlit. The first season happened like 2 years ago. Now Jamie wants to leave because I'm paying attention to you guys, not her.
We appreciate her appearance. She can go sleep in the back of the wardrobe again.
Anyways, the animation for season 2 looks like it's a step up from season 1 quality wise to me, but we're getting like a lot of flashbacks in season 2. We're spending less time with our leads, but it's good because the flashbacks are making things make sense. Whereas like season 1 was very cute, but also very confusing. This is a Billy show on the Anime by Billy YouTube channel, but if you go like directly to their YouTube channel, the playlist for season 1 that it will bring you to is the playlist where the episodes are behind the membership paywall. But if you search for the individual episodes of season 1, I think they're all available right now. I don't know for how long. The reason I didn't go around recommending season 1 back when I watched it was because it was only available for free for a very limited time, and then it went behind the paywall. And I've been really hoping that Netflix would buy this show because they do license some of their shows to Netflix, but no luck so far with this one. Anyway, season 2 is ongoing, and there's a new episode this morning that I haven't watched yet. And then I think next week might be the final episode. I don't know. So I don't know how long this is going to be free to watch on YouTube for, which is why I want to plug it right now.
So what show is this? Like what name?
Soulmate Adventure.
Soulmate Adventure.
I started to watch episode 1. I've got the playlist bookmarked, so hopefully I will get to it before.
Yeah, episode 2 is the one where the animation just looks all wrong, which is disappointing. But like,
I say episode 1, I was like, I'm watching this on a tiny little screen. I can't really tell if it's bad or not.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, why they made the first 3 episodes like one per year. But episode 2 looks dramatically different from the rest. And then like the whole season 2 sort of looks dramatically different from season 1. But I'm not really watching it for the animation quality. I'm watching it for like the cute teenage girls having Jung-hoo adventures.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Ramsey said that new Miyazaki is gonna come out very soon. Yes, I saw the trailer and it looks completely different from what I even imagined. And I don't like. I think the whole name thing is gonna be like very coincidental to the whole like story that because you were talking about, is it even an adaptation? And it looks to be like very its own thing.
I think it is. I mean, having read the book and then seeing, the description of the movie, I'm like,
look at the trailer. You will.
I should watch the trailer. Yeah, I'm like,
it looks really interesting. It looks almost like horror-esque in some place. Yeah, like there's some body horror stuff in the trailer. At least like.
Film?
Yeah, like it's mild. It's very mild, but it's like. The kind of gross stuff that Miyazaki puts in his films.
That was jammy.
Sorry, Reija.
That was a very old and grumpy sound.
That's just what she sounds like. I'm sorry.
She's usually so quiet.
Well, that's because this is her post-lunch nap time. I see she's going to the litter box. That was the I have to go poop sound.
Oh, yeah, she needs to make herself known. Hermes does the same thing. He will like go to the litter box and then he will look at me meaningfully and then he will climb in. But we need to make eye contact every single time before he can climb in.
Fascinating. Yeah, she might scream again after she comes out.
Oh my God.
The cat ownership like legends. Each of us has stories to tell.
Anything else to say, ma'am? Not at the moment.
Look! The void. The void.
All right, I think we should start winding down. Usually we end by talking about something we are looking forward to. So anything people are looking forward to?
For stuff that's coming out soon, the next Nevo novella is coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, and I'm just anticipating each week a new episode of Jujutsu Kaisen for Shibuya Incident Arc. That's gonna be my personality for the next 17 to 16 weeks.
At least it's gonna go on for quite a while.
Yeah, the Shibuya Incident Arc is estimated to be 18 episodes. Because then the second season will be 24 episodes in total, or 26. I don't remember exactly if it's going to be 26 or 24. In any case, we have until like almost Christmas before the thing ends.
Well, this is also what I'm kind of looking forward to. It's like Wednesday night, I watch a new episode of My Happy Marriage, and Thursday evening, I watch Jujutsu Kaisen, which...
Yep, basically.
Yeah. I don't watch a lot of television, so it's kind of weird that like all of a sudden I'm just watching everything.
The other thing I'm watching is Struckwork, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Well, there's one K-drama that I'm watching, but I'm not like, I don't even know if I like it or if I'm just watching it because it has the main character who, like the main male actor plays the main character in Tomorrowland or Tomorrow. And I like him, so I watched this show. that has him in it, even though I don't really like the show. It's Destined with You. It's basically like these two people fall in love in this timeline, but they have been like kind of enemies or lovers in the past. It's mixed up. And there's witchcraft anyway. It's like mildly supernatural.
Fun times. Then.
There's love potions involved.
Yeah, I'm watching weekly episodes of My Happy Marriage and Soulmate Adventure, and they're both about to end. So
Yeah.
Wait, how many episodes is My Happy Marriage going to be?
I think My Happy Marriage is going to be like 12 episodes or something.
So there's only like 2 more?
Something. So I think it's going to be like, it's not going to be very long.
It's not going to like wrap up the plot. It's going to be like season 1, okay. Presumably.
If they're even going to do a season 2.
I mean, like I think the manga and light novels are like ongoing.
Yeah, the light novels, like 4 of them have been four of them have been like translated into English, and I'm not sure how many of them are. I know
But like it's not going to be a contained story in one season, is what I'm saying. We're not going to get resolution. Are we?
That sucks, because I want resolution after this last episode.
So there's currently 7 light novels out in Japan, and 4 volumes of manga have been adapted from the light novels. So if you want the full story, the light novels are the way to go, because it's the original.
I don't know also what for that. If I'm going to get hair brushing scenes, I want to see them, not read them.
I mean, yeah, Ramsey is right. Season 2 are never guaranteed. Just look at like what's the My Monster Next Door, or like Tonari no Kaibutsu, which is one of my favorite manga series, like shoujo manga. And that anime had like just 1 season, ended on a complete cliffhanger, didn't resolve any character plots, and it's been 10 years.
I mean, maybe My Happy Marriage will surprise me and like end on an actual resolution, but after what happened in the last episode, I feel like that's not going to happen.
I just don't want it to leave me angry. That's all.
But here's the thing: I'm not sure if it's gonna have 12 episodes or if it's gonna have 24 episodes. Like, which is it gonna be? Like, is it gonna be like axed in the middle, or is it gonna be a full?
I thought it was gonna be 12, but I thought it was gonna be 12 because I looked it up, but I don't know if my source was accurate.
However, I will say, Kimi ni Todoke ran for 2 seasons, and it's like a 30-volume manga that was adapted to 2 seasons of anime, and then it like was like left unfinished, and now after like 12 years or something, it is getting a 3rd season next year. So miracles can happen.
Whoa, there's a live action film version of My Happy Marriage?
Yeah, I think it's like it either came out this year or it's coming out. But it's currently like apparently having a little bit of a boost in popularity.
Did you hear that was Jamie again?
Oh, Jamie.
She'd done her business and has to tell you.
Well, yeah, and then she went and licked her empty food bowls.
Well, obviously it's early dinner time.
I mean, I completely screwed up earlier. I forgot to buy cat food, like Hermes regular food, and I had to run before the live stream to the corner store to get like emergency wet food rations for him so that he can sustain himself tomorrow. so that I can actually get his regular food. So I am anxiously anticipating the reaction in the morning when he will be given not his customary meal.
He's gonna.
Oh, my cats love wet food. Like Luke yells at me every morning. Like as soon as my feet hit the ground, it is time for him to do his never been fed in his entire life song.
Yeah, Hermes does the thing where he slaps me and bites me on the nose if I don't wake up immediately after my alarm rings.
No, my cat, I've trained the cats to know that they are not allowed to bug me until my feet hit the ground, and then it's fair game.
Tammy just does this thing where she rolls around on the floor and cries for hours on end.
Would you like to be babushka?
She definitely understands emotional manipulation.
Not in a good spot for me to
babushka. Luke was not having it. Luke did not want to be a babushka.
Luke is like, it is too warm for me to embrace my coziness.
Okay, maybe now we should actually start wrapping things
Yeah,
up.
now we should wrap up. Anybody have any last thoughts? Things you're looking forward to? Things you're doing next?
I'll have my review of the Scholomance series probably up on Friday.
And I will be dedicating my free time to Baldur's Gate and trying to make progress in this sweater.
Not at all related, but Luis Rubiales has finally fucking resigned from the Spanish Soccer Federation.
Ooh,
oh yeah, even I know what happened with him. He was the one who forced a kiss on one of the star players. Even
Didn't his mother go on like a hunger strike or something?
Yeah.
Like, lady,
Boy, mom, anyway,
like,
yeah,
I know.
I was just checking Twitter and it literally just came out that he resigned. So good.
They should have fired him. Like, can they fire him?
They couldn't fire him. Like, there was some legal stuff with the Spanish Soccer Federation because he was in like the last year or so of his term, so they couldn't like force him to resign. But yeah,
didn't they fire the coach though? The Spanish team's coach. Finally. I didn't realize he had been the coach there for like 5 years or something. I thought
he had been there since 2015. So previously the coach had been there for like 27 years and players had protested after Spain finally qualified for a World Cup in 2015 and then crashed out at the group stages. And so that guy resigned and then Jorge Vilda got hired because he had been the youth coach and he's never coached anywhere except like the Spanish national system. And he didn't really respect the players. He didn't like have a good system in place. And so last year after Euros, 15 players sent a letter asking for him to be fired and as well as like a complete overhaul and for more support. Anyway, so I'm very glad that Rubiales finally resigned. Maybe I do think there need to be larger systematic changes involved, but this is a start.
Yeah, that the whole mother thing was kind of like, wait, what? This
Oh my god.
People.
All right. We're now in overtime. Want to go around real quickly and tell everybody where they can find you again?
Sure. Jamie!
Kelsey, why don't you go first?
You can find me on YouTube, on TikTok as the Fancy Hat Lady Reads. You can find me on Mastodon and on Twitter for video updates only, and keep your eyes peeled for maybe some sort of no new release-a-thon.
Read old shit stuff.
Read old books.
Die.
You can find me at Bookish Die on YouTube, Twitter, and Blue Sky. Like I said, my Scholomance video will probably be coming out later this week. And after that, I have no idea. I need to figure out what I'm doing.
At the moment, you can most reliably probably find me on Instagram, where I will post pictures of various shenanigans and stories. Like, like most recently my deadlift personal bests. Which is up to 55 kilos now. So.
Woo. All right, and you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter sometimes, and on Blue Sky as Colonnati or Colonnati Books, and here on the live shows. And I have nothing coming up. I am just going to be doing absolutely nothing. Well, and reading technical books for work. So
I will say next month you can expect stuff from my channel because I'm hosting the next Stitch and
yes, yes.
as is our Halloween tradition.
The
Stitch and Witch will be hosted on my channel.
With the way that we have the rotation set up now, you're always going to be October.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, exactly. October is my month. It is mine. Well, let's see if I will put on costumes, but you know, at least I'm going to be here for the vibes.
You always have such fantastic outfits. I'm sure you could just like throw something on and be like,
yes,
party.
Oh, that is true. Shibuya incident is canonically happening on Halloween. That is true. It is in fact true.
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us for another off the wall Stitch and Bitch. We enjoyed having you, and we will see you again next month on Reija's channel. Date to be announced whenever we figure it out. And yeah, until then, happy reading, and we will see you later.